Hey everyone, I know times are tough and the talk of a refinancing boom might have you wondering if it's the right move for you. Lower rates, smaller payments, or pulling cash out. It sounds great, but it's not one size fits all. That's why it's so important to speak with someone who truly understands your situation. Reach out to Anna Cara Loans and her team. Anna has been helping families with your mortgage needs for more than 24 years, and she's here to help you figure out if refinancing is worth it for you. Don't fall for the call center, loan officers, and telemarketers. No pressure, just honest advice from someone who cares. Because sometimes the best move is simply knowing your options.
We're so excited to welcome our next guest to the Modern Day Wife podcast. Anna is a dynamic, top-producing loan officer who built a personal brand that stands out in a crowded industry. Anna Cara has a very simple and important mission when it comes to mortgage financing: to provide her clients with a positive and rewarding mortgage experience that they will not get anywhere else. Anna Cara is considered the go-to mortgage expert because she provides her clients with all the information necessary to make the right decision on mortgage financing. Please welcome Anna Cara, our beloved friend, to the podcast.
Yay!
Hi.
And we did not plan this pink with the backdrop.
This was not planned at all.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. We always love chatting with you. I think this is our third time getting to interview you. This is first time on the podcast, though.
Yes, first time on the podcast. Thank you for having me. Super excited. And congratulations on the podcast. I think it's super exciting. So
Yeah, well, it's going to be, we're excited because we can actually have real conversations and I think get to know people a little bit better who are in our community, because there's some things that we don't know about each other. So that being said, which is interesting because maybe our guests listening don't know, but you're a mom of 3 with a thriving business. Okay, that's a lot. So how do you balance it all, especially because you have a very successful company and a lot going on? So tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think there is no such a thing as a balance.
Yeah.
I think it's all a lie that was sold to us by someone, whoever came up with that. And what I do, I just pay attention to where my attention is needed. Mm-hmm. I focus my attention to where it's needed. And you just have to be alert and present in your own life, that you're able to see, okay, my kids need this, I gotta, take care of this. My business needs this, I gotta take care of this. And just overall, just plan your day. Like, we heard it earlier that, there are days that you're extremely proud of yourself, and there are days that you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Why am I doing this? For what? And then you wake up the next morning, it's like, oh my God, thank God I didn't give up, because I have to do this. There's a reason why you get dreams and thoughts and so on. If you were not the person to do it, you will never get them, so.
I agree. I think it's also interesting. I know it is true. I love that you said that. And maybe you feel this way too. Like, are you more motivated some weeks? Because I know some weeks I'm more motivated and sometimes I'm just not as motivated. But I'm like, that's okay. I'll produce 2 times more the next day. Like, how does that look in your life?
I think motivation is not something that you're supposed to base your actions on, because mm-hmm. there's days that you're motivated and there's days you're not. I think it's more being persistent, and also the fact that you know what your dream is, you know what your goal is, and you're pushing towards it. Mm. So obviously motivation can come and go a few times a day. There's days that you start wonderful in the morning and then something happens, like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. But again, the hardworking part of things also, and being persistent and dedicated to your own self and what your dreams are and to your family, I think it's really important as being a mom. And so that's what I think. Yeah.
Well, Megan, please add, but I'm like, what I love about you so much, because I do follow you on social media religiously, is that you have a good mix. That's what I find. You're sharing so much, which I love. I guess I resonate you because I feel like you are the modern day wife, because you're doing business, but then I see what's going on with your kids and their birthday parties, and you're showing me their pictures from when they were little, and I'm like, I love that. Like, I just gravitate towards the authenticity that you're actually giving us as followers. So I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you for that. I thank you that I really appreciate the feedback. And when I originally started social media, I had no idea where it's going to lead me to. And I said, it was about 10 years ago when I originally started, and nobody in our industry, as far, especially being mortgage, real estate was a little different, but being in a mortgage, nobody was on social media. Nobody ever, even if there was somebody on social media, they would just post interest rates. Like, who cares about interest rates unless you're actually buying? Nobody cares about them. So I was like, okay, I'm a person that I've been in the industry for a very long time. I've been in the industry since I was 18. I'm an immigrant. You know, I came to this country at a young age. I've been through wars and so on. I've seen so much. You know, I had to work because I had to support my family at a very young age. And I'm like, okay, let me just figure out a way how to present all of this. You know what I mean? So people will actually take it in and not be offended and not be bored at the same time. And as I get responses from people, and that's how I adjust it. So people really appreciate it. Like you said, I show my personal life a little and I show business in there. So I mix the two together because at the end of the day, I am mixed with two. Yeah. My day-to-day 24/7 involves both of them. So with my friends and family and, you know, people that I work with and everything that goes around, my clients. So, yeah.
So true. So true. I mean, I think it's true, right? Because that's at the end of the day, we are doing a lot. I think most of us here are doing a lot. You're not just one role, you know? So it's kind of carving out that, okay, like mom hats on or business hats on, but I like that you actually share that, because otherwise sometimes you think this person's perfect or that they have this perfect life, and you're like, it's not like that though. No. It's not perfect.
I get questions asked a lot, like, Anna, how do you do it? I'm like, I just do it. I don't think about it, because I really think if you start thinking about it, you're gonna. I get anxiety attacks if I start thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I have this. Exactly. My son had a project. He needed to make a paper car that actually was able to, you know, like with actual wheels. And last night, I kid you not, I was like, okay, how do we do this? How do we do this? I obviously YouTube, Google, best friends.
Oh my God.
I Googled it, and I'm like, okay, we got the drill. We got this. I ordered, thank God for Uber. I ordered some straws and so on, and I made a car middle of like almost at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
mom.
okay, so we got to do this. It is what it is, you know? Like you said, you wear many hats.
Yeah.
That's all there's to it. I was tired as hell, but...
You're like, I made the car. This project's done. Check.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting just on that point on building things. I felt like I just can't do this. I can't build Legos. I don't want to do it. I don't want to bother, right? But once you just sit down and confront it and you just do it each step, like building a car or whatnot, you actually can do it, right? You learn how to do these things
and
as a mom.
It's fun though. I absolutely enjoy it.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
So, like, I don't.
The Legos was actually, I felt accomplished with the Lego.
That's amazing.
It was a Spidey Lego.
I find it stress relief, to be honest with you, when it comes down to Legos. Like, I get it for them, and then I have a girl and 2 boys. So I get it for the boys, and then they're like, Mom, can you help me? Yeah, sure, step away. And then I finish the whole thing. They're like, Mom, can I? I'm like, no, hold on. I got to take care of it.
He like got sick of it, and I'm like, no, we started this. Now we have to finish. So,
Totally.
like, this is, you know.
I was like, I guess Lego is like a hot topic with the moms.
I know. It's you're
I'm gonna learn
each phase of what Coco Melon is the first.
Well, that's why I said
first level.
I was like, what's your son into right now? Kids change all the time. Anyways, it's cool.
Paw Patrol and Spidey. I have a question. This isn't in our questions necessarily, but how do you switch between having to be the hat of a mom, where you're nurturing, you have to be warm, patient, tolerant, but then you're a business owner, you have to run a staff, you're supposed to be objective and businesslike and professional. Like, this is something that I've had to really learn how to do. Have you struggled with that, and how do you handle that and so on?
I've struggled with that because I'm extremely straightforward, and my team is here with me, and they know this. I kid you not, I always teach them, I'm like, listen, business is business, personal is personal. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything at time if we're discussing business. I'm going to be extremely straightforward with you. And the thing is that, but if some people accept it, they'll stick with you. If people don't, they're just going to walk away. And I don't want those people who are not accepting of that, is because business likes to be straightforward. You don't sugarcoat in business, because if you do, you're going to lose. So for that reason, it's a venting system for me as well, that I just go through people. If they're not there to, okay, this is business, this is nothing personal, we got to take care of this matter, we're getting on top of this, we take care of it. And then if there's something else happening that you didn't like or you didn't appreciate, whatever it is, you talk to me afterwards. But when it's business time, we need to handle something. Keep in mind, we're dealing with one of the most sensitive subjects in humankind, which is their money. So I'm dealing with time and money, and it's extremely personal. So we can't play around with that. My personal emotion has nothing to do with theirs. My number one priority, it's them, period. We could discuss emotions afterwards, but if we need to get things done, we get things done.
Right.
Wow.
And if you don't have that mindset, you can't be in the finance world. It's impossible to be in that, such a time deadline world. You have 30 days to, make someone's dream into a reality. And it takes a lot of, responsibility.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. I'm like, it does take a personality type.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to really separate how you feel. And it's like, okay, this is business. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's an interesting, there was something I was going to say, but I have partial dementia from having my son, so I don't remember what it was, but I might remember it again. So here's the next question, then we'll come back to Megan.
Good.
Okay, so where were we? So what strategies or habits have been key to maintaining and growing your business? Like your persistence, how you have this office you have. Like, how did you go? Let me clarify this, because this is something that is so, how do people do it, right? How do you go from an idea, maybe you want to open up a shop, you're putting your shingle out. How do you know people are going to come? And then how did you make it successful? So why don't you tell us about that?
You don't know if people are going to come or not. You're never going to know if people are going to come or not. And for me personally, it's always been, okay, I like what I do. I enjoy helping people. Let me figure it out, what's my best foot forward. And I realize, unfortunately, as much as we like it or we don't like it, in the mortgage and real estate world, 80% of realtors and loan officers are not up to standards. Let's just put it that way.
Wow.
And observing all that, I was like, okay, you know what? I opened up my first mortgage company when I was 21 years old.
Wow.
So I got into real estate and mortgage because I had to get out of law school. I was first year law school student when my mom lost her manufacturing company, and we lost everything. And I had to go start working so I could support my family. And I got hired as a receptionist there. And then 6 months into it, I had more transactions on the board than the 30 plus realtors and the loan officers in there. And the only reason I did that was observing and being hungry. I had no other options. I had no other choices. I had to make it happen. And it was a great field, great opportunity. I was like, okay, you know what? If I build this, everything I build with integrity and honesty, long term, because mortgage and real estate is a long-term game.
Yes.
In long term, I'm just going to write it off. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. The only reason I'm here today, because of 24 years of hard work and sweat. When everybody was partying, everybody was showing off, I was in the office grinding until 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning.
I think that's like amazing advice, because I think people forget that, right? That they forget that there is somewhere that you started, or even if you weren't in the same career, there's been a buildup of all the things that you've learned over the years have led to that. Like, it isn't just like an overnight success piece. So I think that's so important that you share that, and also that there was sacrifice. Like, you traded a social life, essentially. You focused on what you wanted to get the target to now have what you have.
Definitely, without any questions. And also always know, short, quick success never lasts. When you go to the top quickly, your fall is so hard. You won't even know. Like, it's a blink of an eye. But if you grow slowly and steady, you're going to be on top. Doesn't matter what the market is. All the realtors and all the loan officers last year, a year before, everybody was like kind of starving. Okay. I referred myself over 13 transactions to a real estate agent last year, when the top producing agents were lucky enough to close 1 or 2 transactions.
Wow.
So, and that's solely built on the fact that I build my business on integrity, honesty, and I have clients that refer me clients. I don't work directly with realtors. They're very few. I'm very selective. I don't work with every realtor out there. I'd never pursued realtors. No offense in any shape or form, whoever is a realtor, but I just want to know where I stand, where I come from. I never pursued a realtors. I don't give any referral fees to realtors, even though nobody talks about it, but everybody does it. I don't give out any realtors, any referral fees. You come to me for the service that I provide and for the value that I provide. So you don't have to worry. A realtor refers his client, they don't need to worry about that transaction. I only talk to him once or twice. Appraisal is in, this is in, we're signing the docs, here's your check, done. We're done. So number one priority has always been the client, and I only work with realtors whose number one priority is the client.
Well, I just want to add to this too, because I don't even think I told Megan this, but I went to Anna's office a few weeks ago, and I was talking to her about my future goals and whatnot, and how they seemed a bit unattainable and so on. Yeah. And she sat down at the computer and was like, no, this is what like you have this system with the fields, and you just put in the numbers and the fields, and it is doable, right, to get a condo or maybe a house in some areas here where,
I love that.
Like, what I liked is I don't like when people just talk about so many things. I find it very overwhelming. I'm just like, what is exactly the number? What do we need to put in? What is exactly, how much is the payment, and so on. Like, I don't want to talk about all the different things you can do, because to me it gets overwhelming, right? So anyways, the point is I've experienced this firsthand, and you made me feel like really hopeful too. I was like, oh wow, I can actually do this, right?
That.
So I just wanted to acknowledge you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And that's exactly what I built my business on, and thrive in that. And everybody that works with me and my team as well, that's our number one priority. They always know client comes first. You got to meet their needs. You got to understand. And I call ourselves, we have a therapy session in the office too, because I'm very close with all my clients. They become like a lifelong friends. So I'm very close with the clients as well. And we're like, okay, we need to figure out, this is their life situation. They call me. They're like, Anna, my son is getting married. Can I do this? Like, can I apply for a credit card? Like, to that point.
Wow.
When people call me, and it becomes overwhelming at times, but then you're like, okay, the fact that these people appreciate my opinion and trust me is it's priceless to me. That's what we thrive for. So,
well, it shows that, like, exactly what you said, integrity and ethics. People know.
Well, and whenever you do try to beat the, what is it, like cut corners, or you try to do something not thoroughly or what you're supposed to do, this is at least Megan in my experience, it always comes back to haunt you or bite you in the butt or whatever the saying is. Like, we've just learned, like, we have to be thorough. Whenever you have that thought, oh, should we check with this guy on blah, and we don't do it, that is going to be the explosion at the event.
Oh, 100%. Always happens.
Always.
It's important, if you have a thought that's important, to act on it, because sometimes things happen and then you're like, there's a repercussion, right? There is consequences, unfortunately.
Or assumptions, assuming things. When you assume, which
there's some sort of inside.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about this earlier today, just even assuming what another person's thinking.
Yes.
Because sometimes, like, we present a great image, but we get pissed at each other too, right? And so it
happens.
But it's because sometimes we assume that the other person's thinking something, and it comes back to that communication we were talking about earlier as well, like in earlier podcasts, that you have to talk about these things. And same thing with in finance and so on. I'm sure this comes up a lot, because if you assume something and then the deal is done.
Number one slogan in my office: don't ever assume anything.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you know 1 + 1 is equals 2, guess what? You're going to open up the calculator. You're going to do 1 + 1. You're going to make sure that it equals 2. That's how strict I am when it comes down to assumption, because I know people say there's no such a thing as 100%, but 100% of the time you're wrong when it comes down to assumption. And we have seen it many times happening. It's been, and like you said, it just pops up in your face. That's one thing that you thought,
And then it's time wasted, because you either have to, like, have a communication cycle, which is good to, like, resolve the upset when you could have been producing, or you have to then trade something else to make up for it. Really, at the end of the day, you start to realize, like, you could avoid problems, right, if you don't assume. So I'm with you. I'm like, I need to not do that too. But we're not all perfect, right?
I think it's just a muscle we train in our brains to just kind of look for things that are not supposed to be there. So we just have to train it. Yeah.
Or preparing for what could go wrong.
Yes.
Like that's something too that we have an event producer we hire for most of our events where he does come up with these things like, well, how really are those people going to get from sign in to that room?
Everything.
And I'm just like, they're going to find it. Whatever. These people are dumb. It's just, you just find the space, right? Because, I could be a little rash sometimes, right? And Derek is like, no, what's the customer experience? And
so
how are they going to walk from there to there and so on? And I'm like, all right, fine. Yeah, we're going to do it, right? But you have to sometimes be reminded that it is important, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
That's why you need a good team, which you have a great team.
I do.
Which is amazing.
They're my rock stars. They're amazing.
Yes. Also, you are a branding queen. I was actually having a conversation with your team earlier about you and branding and, how important that is to you. And I think what sets you apart, especially, like, obviously you have your systems and processes in place for what you're doing with your company, but you really market it so well. So I want you to tell us a little bit about how do you keep this brand image alive? And then we're going to go into something else exciting that I know you have coming up, which is an event. But I think we should really talk about branding and why that's so important to you and how you keep your brand image and your company alive.
Like I said, I started with the whole social media about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew I had to be on social media, but I had no idea for what. Like, it was just one of those things. Like, that's where we're going to. So, but again, I wanted to be authentic. Whatever information I provide, I wanted to teach people instead of just, hey, look at me. You know what I mean? So I wanted to bring in value instead of just being a page that, I just get likes. I was like, I don't care about likes. I don't care about views. If I have 10 likes and out of those 10 people, I help one person, I'm completely okay with that. I think that was one of my biggest game-changing mindset that I had when I first started social media, that I wasn't chasing after the next thing, because it can get really, really, really difficult when you're constantly chasing a next trend. And then you lose your identity. So it is extremely important to know who you are, to understand your brand and what you're standing for and what you're representing. So that way it doesn't matter what trend comes in. Even if there's a trend that you like doing, for example, you'll still do it in your own bracket. So represent your brand to the maximum level possible. And I've been through people as far as, a team that does my videos and marketing and this and that. I've been through, if they did not see, what I want my image to be at, they were out the door.
Yeah.
Because if you cannot represent my brand the way I want it to be represented, and they were telling me, "Oh, Anna, show more cleavage, so you'll get more views."
Oh my God!
I was like, "Yeah, no, that's not happening. No. I'm not doing that. I'm not showing more cleavage for views. I want to get more views because of the information that I'm providing.
I love that.
I don't want to show boobs and then just get, like, hey, you have 1,000 likes, great, wonderful. So what's the next? My ass? Excuse my French. Like, no. The next thing you know, I have an OnlyFans account. No offense to people that do, but I'm just saying,
well,
like,
we did
I can't
talk
be
about that
selling.
on one podcast, and we're like, it's not okay.
Saying, yeah.
I was like, why? I
don't even understand what
we
that
don't have to
is.
go on that one, but I'm like, it's true though. It's like, that's not how I want to market myself. Like, I don't need to be naked in order for someone to like
me. Exactly. Yeah. And then once you have your brand, your identity in place, and slowly, again, unfortunately, we're a society right now, we want instant gratification. We're doing something, we want next day, we want something in return. But if you do a slow growth and be steady at it, you trust me, you'll find the right people. You will find the people that follow you. You will find the people. And I just love what Instagram did, updating that it's not based on your following base anymore. It's about the likes and it's more about the shares and the likes and the saves and the community that you built around it.
That.
All right. No, they know. My DMs, guys, are nonstop. I only have 25,000 followers, but my DMs are nonstop. People that I've never met in my life. I kid you not. I know their family stories. I know their issues. They DM me on randomest things ever, and I'm the one that always responds to my DMs.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's overwhelming. Majority of the time is done in the bathroom. Just an FYI.
Hey.
Bathroom breaks. I got, it is what it is.
Yep.
So, but that's the reality of it. And building a community, I love that Instagram updated that because, you have an account that has 1 million following base, but they have absolutely no freaking value. They don't bring in any value. They just have a following base because they had naked pictures like 2 years ago on there, But again, bringing in value, long-term game. Think of it as a long-term game. Don't think of it as a short-term because you guys are going to lose if you focus on the short-term. I've been and I've tried playing the short-term game and I quickly realized it's not working. It's not going to happen. Let's just stick to the long-term.
Oh, I love that message. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with it a lot. Everyone's going to get pissed at me when I say this because I know most of you do this, but I'm not big on I'm not going to do the demure thing, right? Like, I'm not doing that stuff. Like, it's fine for everyone to do it. And
but it's fine that you're not doing it too, though.
And I think I'm just like, I'm not going to go and dance with... Maybe I'll regret this in the future. I'll do it with my son. But I'm like, I'm not doing the latest TikTok dance or the latest dubbing or the latest with the captions of I don't know, people are narrating their stories and they have a different voice.
I know.
They're giving the story of their weekend. And I'm like, who are you? Did you become a reporter over the weekend? It's actually, but it's fine, but it's a trend, right? It's like people listen to other people be like, my weekend and I'm like, I don't even understand it, right? So I'm pretty adamant that it's okay if you do. I'm not even trying to invalidate that.
I don't think it's
fine.
great, though. I think it's actually good advice.
Well, I'm just saying, for me, I'm not going to do it. Now, my social media isn't strategic. Our modern day wife one is more important for me than mine. And mine is more to, I don't know, it's PR for whoever wants to look at it. But the point is I'm not on our modern day wife page, in our events and so on, it's very important to me that we're not. You see a lot of women's groups where it's very cutesy and cute fonts and peaches and pinks and you see the same font. In fact, when our designer sent us this backdrop, one of the fonts was that same font I've seen every sip and shop women's group do.
Let's say with the color, we're like, we can't do that color. So it's not us.
Yeah, so we're like, we're not going to do that. And that, I think that comes to the branding and so on. And I know it's going to segue into what your event is about too, but maybe you can also just tell them a little bit about your branding, because if they haven't been to one of the events that you've been at with the cookies and the shirts and the so on,
so good.
Can you tell them about your brand?
Well, which part do you want me to tell?
Well, you
Gucci, Prada, Fendi,
Gucci, Prada.
finance.
You made it. It's sexy, glamorous.
Yes.
It has its own identity.
I think I have, as much as I'm dorky when it comes down to finance, at the same time, I'm a girl and I'm a tomboy like there's no tomorrow. Aww. So I could be a girly girl, I could be the tomboy, and I've always been friends with boys than girls, because of the fact that I was always interested on the stuff that comes down to investing and thinking let's build this, let's build that. So I was always drawn to that, I guess, the entrepreneurship aspect of things. And it comes in my family, basically. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, which he went to prison for 3 years in the Soviet Union because you couldn't be an entrepreneur.
Oh my God.
He had a manufacturing company, and they sent him to prison for 3 years for that. My mom was an entrepreneur, obviously. It just comes in my blood, basically, kind of a deal. But I always been drawn to those kinds of conversations. I wanted to be surrounded in those areas. But then at the same time, I'm a girl. I like being a girl. I like being a woman. I like being a girl. So I was like, okay, let's mix the two worlds together so it's not too feminine for the men. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with them. And it's not too sexy for the men because they have wives. You got to be careful with that.
Yes.
There's a very fine line. You have to be extremely careful not to cross that. All right. I have a huge respect for that. You have to keep it clean. So, and I was like, okay, so investing is sexy. Investing, I get it, is sexy. And especially coming to one of your events, I was like, you know what? I'm walking into a space that nobody talks about this. It's all beauty. But for us to be beautiful and to maintain all that, beautiful bags, we all love beautiful bags, the cosmetic things that we do to ourselves and, nice clothes and all that stuff, we need to have money. You need to have money in order for you to live. So I was like, okay, why don't we get our investing part of things, excuse me, our investing side of things where it needs to be, make the money, have the money coming in, and then do all the other stuff, buy your first rental a house. let the mortgage be paid by someone else. Have some kind of a little income coming in from that. And then have that income to support whatever else you want to do on the side. Okay? Have that income pay for your bag. Have that income pay for your car. So you're, number one, you're not dependent on the men. Let's just start off with that. And number two, you know who you are, and you don't need to depend on anybody to support you in any shape or form. Great. If you have a man that is supporting you, wonderful. But you still need to have your own on the side.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. So that's where the whole branding was like, okay, you know what, we're going to get into this space. I want to make sure that we bring in the sexiness. I want to make sure that it's appealing to my ladies. And, you know, we're here to help you guys understand and change your mindset that investing is sexy. Let's make it nice. Let's make it cool. And let's just build on that.
It definitely does bridge the gap. And now that you're talking about it and we're describing it, it does bridge, like, if a woman's interested in a certain aesthetic, and then so they'll be more attracted to like, okay, well, maybe I can talk about this, right? It bridges that, as opposed to this very corporate space and you're in a corporate office.
Never been that. My office has never been that. I always wanted to. It's always been, my dream is always the boutique mortgage company. I've never been the type to do any corporate kind of stuff. And just my business card, when I stopped printing business cards, by the way, like 9 years ago. No, 6 years ago, I'll say. And my office sign on Magnolia Boulevard has my Instagram handle on it. So I direct everybody to my Instagram. I stopped printing business cards, but if you saw my business cards, I'm going to do a post on this.
See, they're probably so good.
There was a shot of me, a picture that looked completely artistic. It didn't look like a mortgage. It was black completely, and there was a shot of me with sideways. My face was not even on there, my full face. It was a sideways, like a very artistic shot.
So cool.
Whomever I would give it to, they're like, wow, what is this? It's like, wow, you're a mortgage company or like an entertainment company? I'm like, well, depends how you look at it, because investing can be entertaining too. So,
I love that.
That's how
Grabs attention.
I've always wanted to be. I never understood that whole corporate, even though, keep in mind, I started very young in the industry, where back in the days sorry guys, I feel like I'm not looking at this side. Back in the days, about 95% of the industry was male dominated. And I was about 18 years old when I started, and the majority of people that were in it, they were like 30 and above. But now it wasn't used to. It's not like today that mortgage and real estate used to be a younger generation kind of a thing. It wasn't. It was like 30 or above. And imagine this 18-year-old kid has no clue about anything when it comes down to mortgage and real estate, and walking into an office and a meeting, and there you have all this like 30 plus, like 50, 60-year-old like men sitting with suits, and then there I am, like, you know, dressing casually, but yet like trending kind of a deal. And then I'm like, okay, these people are not going to take me seriously. Like, so I have to figure out how to make sure they're going to take me seriously. So I made sure that I learned every single little thing when it came down to real estate and mortgage, down to the T. So when I walked in, they looked at me as, oh, who is this girl? When I walked out, they were like, damn, she knows more than we do.
Wow.
And I made sure that they, you know, I never play the game that I'm a female. I could care less. I'm a human being. I walk in there. There's 10 males sitting there. I'm like, I could care less. I know more than you guys do. So I'm going to walk in there and own the room, period. I never played the female card. I never made an excuse as far as being a female, or, you know, I give birth with 3 kids. I literally took probably like 2 days off with each one. I never played that game that, you know, I need my time off and so on, which I think it's great if you do. But as a business owner, when you're building your business, unfortunately, you can't play that game. You can't.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Totally.
A whole book
actually,
could be written on that.
I emailed Megan. We had just partnered, and I was
crazy
in labor,
story.
and I felt guilty. I remember I think this is in our podcast. I emailed Megan, being like, listen, I'm headed to the hospital. I'm going into labor. Like, I'll be back in a week. And like, little did I know Megan would care less, right? But I wanted her to be like, feel I was, you know, we were new together, and I'm like, I have to keep. So, but that was how crazy I was, right? That I was going to labor and I felt bad. Because
but that's being responsible, though.
Yeah,
but I
it's
think
true.
that's being responsible
It's true.
because there are other people depending on you. It's just having the courtesy to say, hey guys, I'm going into this. I'll talk to you in a bit. Let me know if you need anything else. I kid you not. I took files with me to the hospital. I'm not kidding you.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding you.
I love
my
this
doctor's
story.
like, get off the phone, Anna. Your baby's coming. One of our clients'
Wait,
property.
which? I'm like, I love this. Which child? This is the story. I love this.
With child, with Sophie,
Oh my
with
God.
Miles, and
All
with
three.
Charles. All
Love
three
it.
of
Which
them.
hospital? Sorry, just
This is
curious.
Tarzana Medical Center. Now
my
it's
God.
Cedars right now. All three were born there. Best hospital, by the way,
Amazing.
especially for giving birth.
Well,
So
let's
awesome.
talk
So-
about
What's
the
going
event,
on?
by the way,
Yeah.
too, because you have a huge event coming up that I'm
excited.
going to be there attending.
I'm
I
gonna
think
miss it.
Kate is coming, and lots of other of you who are in this field who should come as well, entrepreneurship, real estate, and so on. But you've teamed up with some killer speakers, like the leaders in this field, and I'll let you elaborate on who they are. And you're building this entire brand now of eventing. So why don't you tell everyone about what's coming up on September 27th?
26th, yeah.
And who's speaking and why and what is this all about?
So for many years, like you guys asked me questions, Anna, how do you do branding? How do you do this? How do you do that? Obviously, it's been one of those things that I've been, not only growing my business, but very focused in that as well. I understand the importance of it. And for past 3 years, as the market changed, I've been doing this for a while not to panic when market changes. I know it's time to come back home, basically, get to the office and change everything up internally, because when market is busy, you really don't have time to update anything internally. So I refocused on myself, refocused on the company, and I became part of this amazing group which I found through Instagram.
So awesome.
Talk about branding. I found through Instagram, and Neil, one of the speakers, he had 80 followers. I kid you not. Okay, this is over 3 years ago. He had 80 followers, and he just posted a video saying with the nice lighting, and it was just a nice video. And he's all like, he's a loan officer as well himself. Not anymore because he skyrocketed with his company. So, and he's like, aren't you guys tired of hearing the same marketing strategies when it comes down to loan officers and realtors? I'm like, yes, please, somebody, talk to me about it. Let's figure this out, because everybody in my community and in our industry that work with, they're like, what are you doing, Anna? Like, why aren't you posting just sold, just this? I'm like, I'm not posting that stuff. I don't want to, it's like another post like everyone else. I'm not posting that. Anyways, so I DM'd Neil. We started chatting, and he's like, hey, Anna, we're doing this event, the Forward event. And I was like, he's like, you want to come up in Vegas? I was like, sure, let's go. And then it was probably like a 200 people event kind of a deal. And then I was like, holy crap, this guy is onto something. I'm really enjoying this. And the people that were surrounding were really nice people, which was really important. Now, like you guys said earlier, it's just really hard to find genuinely nice people to work with and collaborate with. So next thing you know, we just got back, and then he created a mastermind group. It's only 100 of us. It's a hefty one as far as price goes to be part of it, but because the value they bring into it's worth every single penny of it. And past July, he did one of the biggest events. This is the second time Gary Vee was coming to speak as well. And it was over 1,700 people at the Resort World. It was the second event that he's done. So with the power of branding and marketing and being genuine and honest, basically, he skyrocketed his business from zero to having Gary Vee, Ed Milet, Chris Do, you name it, like the top people coming in. And I'm so lucky that I'm able to call these people my friends, because we've been we meet once a week over Zoom. So you get to know these people on a personal level. And everybody in our industry, in my community, has always been asking, they're like, Anna, when are you going to do an event? You should do this, you should do that. I never felt that it was the right time to do, until we finalized a date, which was September 26th. And I have Chris Doe, Neil, and then Trevor York, who's also a loan officer, and he's another genius in storytelling altogether. And I was able to get them to come in. It's going to be a one-day event, and it's not your regular event or a conference that you go to. It's a place that you're going to take away something tangible. When you leave, you're going to know exactly, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how we get to this point. Because everybody talks about, oh, you should do social media. Yeah, great. Where do I start? Like, what do I do? Number one thing, you need to find out who you are. And one of the greatest thing about Chris is that he's the guru in branding. Like, he's an Emmy Award winner, branding designer, like to that level. And he's local. He lives in Pasadena, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. So he goes one-on-one. That's one of his favorite ways to do. He asks for a whiteboard and markers from me. That's how technical he gets. He will give you a blueprint of how to identify your brand. Obviously, you know how these conferences work. You could have 1,000 people. It only resonates with one person that actually physically goes and does it at the end of the day. But personally, experiencing being around these people for the last 3 years of my life, it has completely changed. One of the reasons why I'm sitting here is because of me being in that group, because they elevated my brand to the next level. And I wanted to create that same thing for our community and for me to bring them, because majority of the time they're in Vegas. They're not even here in LA. So I wanted to bring that into our community to help everyone to elevate their personal brand. And like Gary Vee said at our last event, he's all like, you know, if you guys don't have your personal brand where it needs to be within 5 years, we're all going to be history because AI is taking over.
Yeah.
AI is taking over. We're going to be history like the Yellow Pages were. So it's extremely important. And that's my way of bringing back to the community. We're giving back to the community. And I hope, because at this point of the game, I think in real estate and in mortgage especially, in any industry, but in real estate and mortgage especially, it's time to change things up. I think, like, I don't want to see another sold sign, honestly. I'm tired of it.
Wow. Well, so it's September 26th, and where is it?
It's in Glendale. It's at Vertigo venue. It's on Glen Oaks Boulevard. It's going to be an absolutely amazing event. And we have all the lineup speakers, including myself. And then the VIP tickets, we'll have one-on-one with Chris Do. There's only 50 VIP tickets, out of which I think we're sold out about 20 some plus of them.
Amazing.
So we're going to have one-on-one with Chris Do dissecting everything. It's going to be probably an hour or so. And then it's followed with we're going to get a shuttle that's going to take you to Shark Tank, where the magic happens. It's an after party.
Oh, yes.
Where if you guys know, in our community, everybody knows Michael K and Shark Tank, and it's going to be an after party to the next level. It's on the website. You guys can go and check it out if you guys want. It's on my handle as well on social media, on my Instagram, in the link bio. But yeah, after party, we know, business is business, branding is branding, but we don't want to do it without having a little fun too.
I love that. Got to bring the fun.
Yeah.
A mixture of both.
Perfect. Well, and what is your handle?
It's Anna Kara Loans. Anna, double N, Kara, Kara, Loans.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, we're really excited about this event. And when people hear this podcast, the event will be over. So what's your plan for the future in 2025?
Well, what I wanted to do is do more of the events, pretty much. And I want events to be tangible so that you'll take away something from it every time you come in. And that could be the company, the brand. I kid you not, we literally came up with the brand for within 10 days, the ELV8 brand itself. Logo, website, everything within 10 days. Group of amazing people. So we want the ELV8 to come in. We could come in any shape or form. Elevate your personal brand is one of the events the first event that we're doing. Next one could be elevate your income. Whatever that it comes down to based on the guy. You already have people reaching out to me. They're like, hey, Anna, can we be part of the next event? Can we do this? Can we do that? So I want to bring in, again, going back to when I started social media, bring in value.
Love that.
Without expecting anything in return,
important.
because automatically it will happen.
It's true. Like when you have that underlying purpose in whatever you're doing, like we always say that sometimes with our events. Sometimes when it's maybe not going well, right? An event's not selling or not coming together the way we want it to. Megan and I always say we need to go back to the purpose. Like, why are we putting this event on anyways? Like, what is the point of doing this? Because it's not, in life you have to make money, right? Like this is the reality of the situation. We have to pay our bills, but why are we actually doing this? Like, what are we trying to give to the community? What are we trying to create as the ambiance, the experience? And we always say if we have all of that in place, we know no matter what, it will be a great event. And from there, we can add more. So
That's
I
right.
love
Yes.
that you're so focused on the value, because I think it shows and it will bring people back. I think I'm so excited. I'm like, I know you're going to have like
Grateful.
these legacy events. That's your word, Megan, legacy. But I know that you'll definitely be doing more of them. So it's been so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank
Hopefully.
you so much for being on Modern Day Wife, the podcast. What is our finale question?
Oh, yes. Yes, I love this. So we ask every guest, what does being a modern day wife mean to you?
What does modern day wife means to you? Having a family, strong foundation, having a supportive husband, supportive kids, and building a community around you and surrounding yourself with people that have the same vision as you all say. And also at the same time, making sure that whatever you do, you come from a place of giving and just being grateful.
I love that. I love that answer. I was
Amazing.
Like, I love that you hit everything I think that we stand for. So that's, I mean,
Yes.
that's not the point of the question, but every time we ask each guest, we are always, I think, mesmerized, basically, like in awe of what everyone's answers are. We should compile them actually for content, because it's really cool to see what it does mean to you. So
That is
I love
true.
that.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Anna.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.